Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Divortorium. My name is Darnay DeVore, and I'm going to be your host. On today's episode, we'll be discussing questions in relationships, and we're going to deal with the topic of infidelity. Okay? Cheating, basically. This is going to be a sensitive topic because I know a lot of us out there, we have had experience with people who have cheated. Whether you were the one who cheated, or someone cheated on you, or it's just been around you and your family, friends, neighbors, whatever. Okay? Cheating and infidelity, it's not a foreign topic to a lot of us. So we're not going to deal with why people cheat. That's a whole different topic. What we are going to deal with are the ramifications, the what happens to the relationship when people cheat. Okay? When people are unfaithful within their relationship. What the one who was cheated on, what we go through. Because yes, even I've been cheated on. Okay, so let's start with a simple story. I had a bunch of friends back in the day. They all, at this time, they all had girlfriends. I didn't. So we're all hanging out together, myself, my buddies, and all their girlfriends. And at the time, a Star Trek movie had just come out in theaters. So I knew that me and my fellas, we all like Star Trek. So, hey, guys, why don't we all go see Star Trek together? But let's include the girls too. All of us, okay? We can all go see Star Trek together. And the guys were excited. Sure, okay. When? What day? We were already making the plans. But then the girls who were right there with us, they chimed in and said no. No, we're not going to see some stupid movie about some stupid guy with funny ears and a space movie. No, it's just stupid. We're not going. Now, that was only option A. As far as I'm concerned, is to include everyone. Option B was simpler to me. Hey, why don't just us fellas go? You know, me and the boys, we can go, and ladies, you can stay. No big deal at all. So the guys were, oh, well, okay, yeah. They were excited once again, but then the girlfriends chimed in once again and says no. They said 5 guys, it was 5 of us, 5 guys cannot go to the movie theaters by themselves without picking up numbers from girls and calling them later. It was that simple. And you should have saw the looks on the faces of my friends. We were all grown, by the way. We're in our 20s. Grown men. But they all kind of looked sad. Like they were little kids who could not come out to play. I could not understand why these girls would not let their boyfriends go to the movies with them or without them to see this particular movie. And it wasn't the movie itself, more so, if we're going to go with you, we want to enjoy the movie too. But if we can't enjoy the movie because we think it's stupid, then not only are we not going to go, but we don't trust you to go out on your own either. So either way, you're not going to see the movie. Get over it. And I was sad. I was actually sad for them. But I figured, I will never be in this scenario, okay, where I'm told what to do or what not to do by my girlfriend until I got a girlfriend who did. Yes, it wasn't long after when I got a girlfriend, and she was just as jealous, possessive as the girlfriends that I just mentioned. Now, these girlfriends I mentioned, they had been cheated on or they'd seen it around them. And so that's how they were reacting to what they went through. Okay, they were not going to let it happen again. So they were going to clamp down as much as they could on the person they were with so that to prevent them from cheating on them. And that's exactly what this girlfriend did with me. She clamped down on my freedom, on my ability to choose, to enjoy things I like. I remember it got so bad, she would calculate how long it took me to get from work to home. And if I was 5 minutes late, then I was cheating automatically. And there was a fight. There was a fight right there. I remember she went through my phone list. She wanted to make sure everyone in my phone list was who I said they were. If there was a friend listed by their name, listed as a friend, she would call the friend to ensure that it's only a friendship. If it said, this is my sister next to the name, Same thing. I got to call her to make sure she's your sister and not someone you have on the side. Folks, it got really, really bad, and the fights just continued. And I started wondering, why am I fighting? Why are we fighting? Everything that we're arguing about, I'm innocent of. I haven't done anything. There's no evidence of anything, but it would just trigger her memory of what her ex did to her. And you know it's bad because her ex, he was in jail at the time. He was into some other things other than cheating on her. He was into some illegal activities and he went to jail. So I started thinking halfway through this relationship with her, I would so love to trade places with her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, I'd rather he be out here dealing with this because he created this mess. He did. I'd rather he be out here and me be in jail where he is, because at least in jail, I can have my 3 meals a day. I can work out in the yard and I can have my peace. I can have some semblance of peace, rather. Okay? Anything to not deal with her and this mess that she's made of her life, or this mess of her heart. Okay? Now, once again, there was a lot of good qualities about her, but those qualities were covered over by so much pain and hurt because of what the previous guy did to her. And that's exactly what happens. When you've been cheated on, there's this feeling of humiliation. Okay? Like, who else knew? Who else knew that you were cheating on me? And you see people around you that know, suddenly they're like, well, I didn't want to say anything. And well, you feel like you're the last one to know that the person that you uplift and hold up the highest is not faithful to you. You feel betrayed. There's a lot of self-doubt that goes on in your heart. Am I not good enough? How could he do this to me? Or how could she do this to me? That's what goes through your mind when you've been cheated on. Now, if you're the cheater, you've created a world in someone's heart, and this is a world of hurt. It's a world of embarrassment. And moving forwards, it's going to be difficult for them to establish trust in someone else down the line. Now, this particular girl, it got difficult. It got way too difficult. And so I decided we can't go any further. You're destroying me with your anger and pain from your ex, and you're destroying yourself because there's so much potential this girl had, but she'll never realize it as long as she's holding on to the anger and the pain and the hurt of the betrayal in her life before me. So when I broke up with her, it was very difficult, by the way, very difficult in spite of what we had gone through. It was difficult. But the first question she asked was, who is she? She didn't ask, what did I do wrong? She didn't ask, how can we make things better? Okay? She asked, who was she? Which basically encapsulated our entire relationship. In her mind, I've always had someone else, no matter what I did to prove to her that I did not. Here's my phone. Here's my life. Here's all my friends. Here's my work schedule. Take everything. Take a look at it. All right? Nothing to hide, but it did not matter. She was not willing to trust. Okay? Her trust had been broken before, and she was not going to let that happen again. Incidentally, if your trust has been so broken that you are refusing to trust again, this is not a good time for you to be in a relationship, because to be in a relationship, you have to trust. It requires you to be open and vulnerable to the person you're with. If you're not ready to be open and vulnerable and trust the person you're with, don't get with them yet. All right? Be friends for a while. Learn who they are. And if for any reason during that time of friendship, you see things that just don't seem right to you, you're more than welcome to pull out and say, no, thank you. No, thank you. We'll just keep this as friends and leave it at that. But if the more you know, the more you like, typically folks tend to get more and more afraid because they're afraid if this is too good to be true, that they're just going to get hurt again. This is a never-ending conundrum that a lot of us deal with. Now, I've been cheated on myself. Okay, I've not cheated on someone but I've had folks cheat on me. How did I deal with it? It wasn't easy, okay? It was very, very hurtful. But what I did on the flip side was I decided to leave the incident, the infidelity incident, with the person who cheated. Okay, so if person A cheated on me, then I would leave the situation with person A. I would deal with it in my heart, get over it enough, heal enough, so that when I move on, I'm not holding person B accountable for what person A did. Does that make sense? It still belongs with person A, not with person B. Person B, it's a clean slate. We can start fresh and we can leave everything. We can leave the baggage in the past with the people who helped create the baggage. Now, if you're in a relationship where there's been infidelity, you've got two options. It's decision time. Here is option number one. If you decide to stay, then there's a lot to rebuild. There's a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt, and it's starting from zero. Okay? You've got a lot. You're going to have patience during that rebuilding process. All right? Whether you're the one that cheated or you're the one who's been cheated on, you're going to have patience. It's going to take time to heal those wounds. It's going to require understanding, and it's going to require sacrifice. You got to understand if the person doesn't trust you because you're the one who cheated, and so they may require access to your phone, not because they're jealous, but because you created something in them that has now provoked their jealousy. Okay, in an otherwise non-jealous person, you have provoked it, which will require you taking an extra step to help heal those wounds and be completely transparent. Sacrifice. Maybe you like to go out with your friends, or maybe you like to take trips by yourself. All that's got to be done. No more of that until you can rebuild that relationship with the person that you hurt most. All right. It's easy to leave. It's so easy to leave. But I'm not going to give you that out. Okay. You can leave or you can stay, but your choice is yours. If you stay, these are the things you have to deal with. If you decide to leave, you're going to leave carrying with you so much hurt, so much guilt, so much baggage, so much confusion. Why would this person do this to me? Why? And so much anger. How could this person do this to me after all that I gave them? Okay? This is what you're going to carry with you. And you still have to take some time to heal that hurt, to get rid of that baggage so you don't hurt the next person you encounter. So whether you stay or whether you leave, it's going to take time to heal the wounds that you've inflicted or has been inflicted on you. It's going to take time to heal those wounds so you can move forward with your life, whether it's with the person or without. The reason why I say I'm not going to give you an easy way out, as in just leaving, is because I have heard and I've met the individuals who there was infidelity on one part or the other or both. And they fought, they struggled, but they brought it back together. And to this day, you can't even tell they've ever had that issue. They are closer now than they've ever been in their life. But it took time, it took patience, and it took God. It took God and remembering his sacrifice. I like what one preacher said, when he's counseling two people and there's been infidelity or what have you, whatever issues, he says he likes to focus on the gospel. Why? Because the gospel is the ultimate sign of forgiveness. And if you are a Christian and you know you've been forgiven of all your wrong, you can't withhold forgiveness from someone else. Not saying you've got to stay in the relationship with them, but you will have to forgive them. Because if you do not forgive them, you're not showing how Jesus has changed your heart. You don't fully understand the gospel, because the gospel says Christ died for us while we were still in our sins. Okay, he didn't have to. And we did not apologize to Jesus first and then he died. No, we were still in our sins and he died. And he died. He forgave us before we even recognized how bad our sin was. So I like that. I like that because it really it really puts a perspective on forgiveness that sometimes we miss. Many people believe that if you forgive them for what they've done to you, then you're letting them off the hook, that they can just go free and do it again, for instance. But not quite, not quite. If you're letting them go out of your life, God's going to deal with them one way or the other. But when you let them off the hook of your heart, you are freeing your heart. You're letting your heart heal so you can move on to a healthy relationship. The story that I mentioned in the beginning, that was someone who did not let her guy off. She did not forgive him. So he was still on the hook of her heart. And we talked about him all the time. She said, I don't love him anymore. I don't love him. He hurt me. But I think she did. I think she still did. Even if she did not love him, she was still, her heart, her emotions were still wrapped up in him and what he did wrong, rather than letting it go and being able to look to a better future with someone new. A big concept of God's forgiveness isn't just forgiving us of our sin, but when you look through the Old Testament, you see Israel, the children of Israel. That is God's chosen nation. There was a deal made. God said, I will be your God and you will be my people. Don't worship any other gods, just me. When you look through the Old Testament, Israel cheated on God. Israel worshiped false idols almost throughout the Old Testament. Every other book, it seems like, Israel was in bondage or in slavery yet again because they kept worshiping false gods. They kept cheating on God, but God continued forgiving them. So God is showing forgiveness throughout the Old Testament and through Jesus, his son, the New Testament as well. Now, we're going to deal specifically with divorce, though, because that's a really big topic too. When someone cheats, believe it or not, God does not like divorce. Okay, he hates it, but he allows divorce if there is sexual immorality. In other words, if one or the other has been unfaithful, he allows it. But just because he allows it does not mean he encourages it. Okay, he knows how difficult it is to be hurt by someone you love. Look at us. We hurt him every day with our sin, and yet he gave his best to us. He wants that for us. He wants us to be able to go through pain, embarrassment. He wants us to be able to go through humiliation and still give our best, show who we are. We are his children. And because we are his children, we are to imitate and mimic what he has done for us, not necessarily what we want to do, because how dare they do this to me and I'm going to A, B, C, or D. No, we're his children and we act like our parent. Let's take a look at Matthew 19, 3-6. It reads, some Pharisees came to test him. They asked, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason? Haven't you read, he replied, that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female and said, for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Let no one separate. This scripture here, it's clear. The two become one flesh. When two become one flesh, that represents the intimacy within marriage. Now, what happens when the two that have become one flesh, one of them decides to become one flesh with someone else? Then you've already torn the two that you were originally, that became one, you've already torn that apart when you become one flesh with someone else. That's not how this works, and that's the pain that people go through when they've been cheated on. And if you've been the one cheating, this is the pain that you're inflicting on the person that you're with. Now, I'm not going to deal with the reasons because everyone has their reasons. I'm going to put all those reasons to the side, and I'm going to ask a simple question. Whose child are you? Are you a child of God? If you are, then the two have become one flesh, and you work it out. You work through it. Okay? If you decide that one or the other has cheated and you decide you want to put it back together, God bless you, it can be done. It can be done. If you decide to leave, it won't be easy either because you're tearing yourself apart. But time will heal it. Time and keeping God in your heart. Infidelity can affect people in different ways, but it definitely has an effect on people, a very painful effect. It tears the heart apart. Okay? The infidelity, the scars from it can last for years and years. Take your time. Take your time. Let those scars heal. Let God heal those scars. You're his child. And if you're not his child yet, think about it. Consider it. Because he can give you a supernatural outlook. Something that's going to give you strength to continue on. Something that's going to give you a foundation to continue on with. Knowing that no matter what happens in your life, God has got a plan for you. No matter who is unfaithful to you, God is there and he's watching out for you. He wants you to be able to not just endure it, but get through it, whether it's with that person or without the person. But he wants you to go on because there's a lot of lives you can touch with what you've been through. If you've been the one cheated on, do you know how many lives you can touch when you step up to a speaker's podium with a smile and let everyone else know, I know you've been cheated on, I have too, and look, there's life after infidelity. We can know God, we can love God, we can go on with happy lives. Or the one who cheated, realizing their mistake, and then coming to Christ and realizing, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I should have never treated someone this way. Because regardless of what was going on in our relationship, that person I'm with is made in the image of God. And if I love God, I love his image too, which includes the person I'm with. Cheating, infidelity should be out the door, done with. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Stay tuned for the next video.